Welcome to Mainland Cycle Center's new vehicle department. Today we're going to take a look at a 2012 Kawasaki Brute Force 650. Now this is the solid rear axle model. We make it two ways with independent rear suspension, or independent front and rear suspension, or this has of course independent front suspension with a McPherson strut, and then this has a swing arm solid rear axle rear suspension as opposed to the independent rear suspension. And you might be asking, why would someone buy this model over the independent rear suspension model? This one's a little bit less expensive, but a lot of guys like the idea of this swing arm rear suspension, including myself. I actually own two of these personally, and you know, there's a lot less going on with the independent suspension model. You've got two A-arms on each side, so four A-arms. Which is a lot of bushings and bearings, plus you've got two CV axles and force boots and things like that. And with this, you just really don't have all that. You've got a swing arm with some bearings, you've got a single shock, a couple of seals, and that's about it. It's pretty simple and straightforward. And these actually still ride very smooth. The independent suspension bikes ride good too, but these are actually quite smooth ride bikes. They're very plush suspension. Comes with the trailer hitch standard. One of the neat things we'll look at while we're back here is the rear brake. The Brute Forces, if you'll notice, there's no brake in here, and then there's no brake in here. The brake is actually right in here, and it's a multi-disc wet rear brake. And what that means is the wet part of that is that the brake actually rides in the same oil that these gears ride in. The brake is on the drive shaft coming back. It's multi-disc because that keeps it small in diameter. I mean, if you had a big diameter brake hanging down, that would cut your ground clearance some. So to make it small diameter, they made it multi-disc. It's kind of like the wet clutch on a Japanese motorcycle, and but it's a brake, and so if you're familiar with that, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But we've been using this style rear brake on these since 2002 now, and they've just been fantastic. Chances are you'll never replace those rear brakes. I don't believe we've replaced a set of rear brakes on one of these bikes yet. They just do very, very well. So I just love it, and it works good too. These are a 650cc V-twin, much like our 750, just a little less displacement. These are carbureted instead of fuel injected. Again, that kind of helps the price point a little bit. But a 650cc V-twin, full floorboards. You know, when you get to our 650 V-twin, I'm kind of of the opinion that you've kind of reached the threshold of power to some extent. I mean, the 750s are a little bit faster, but these are more powerful probably than the majority of four-wheelers out there on the market. Not much out there will run with one of these V-twin Kawasaki four-wheelers. These do really well. Comes standard with aluminum wheels, 12-inch wheels, 25-inch tall tires. You can run 27s on these without doing a lift kit or anything to them. I personally, like I said, I have two of these, an 07 and 09 model. Both of my bikes have 27-inch tall tires on them. And I've had no issues with that, and they clear, and there's no problems. And I don't have lift kits on mine. I like to go out and ride trails, but occasionally when you're riding the trails, the off-road parks, you're going to come across some mud, and you just helps to have a little more aggressive, a little taller tire. But the other thing I like about this solid rear axle bike is with the swing arm rear suspension, I think it gives the bike a little sportier feel to it. A little lower center of gravity, and because I like to kind of ride trails fast, it suits me better, I guess. But anyway, I dig it. Nice big seat, nice large rear rack. Got the front rack there. Got a 12-volt power outlet there. Let's take a look at the instrumentation. These do have full digital instrumentation. It's got a speedometer, it's got a fuel gauge, clock, hour meter, temperature warning light, oil pressure warning, neutral light, just all the relevant stuff. These are selectable two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, so you can select two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Kawasaki recommends that you come to a complete stop to shift that. there. And then, so when you're in two-wheel drive, of course, just the rear wheels are driving. There's no slippage at those rear wheels. When you engage the four-wheel drive, you of course engage the front end. The front end is a limited slip front differential. Kawasaki has a unique feature. You pull this lever and that locks your front differential. You know, you only need it locked typically for a few seconds of time to get through the mud hole or up the hill or over the rocks or whatever it is you're doing. And there's no reason to hold this and drive down the trail. It means you've got good traction if you're driving down the trail, and that's just going to make your steering heavier. But if you need to lock it, you lock it, and when you get through what you're going through, you let it go, and it's just that simple. It's one less electronic actuator kind of thing. So, headlights off, low beam and high beam, your start button. Now, one thing I'll tell you about this low beam and high beam, some of our customers have figured out that if you get this switch in just the right spot between low beam and high beam, you can get the low beam and the high beam on at the same time. We don't recommend that you do that. It's a little too hot and it can melt the headlights. So low beam or high beam, but not both. Okay. You got your engine kill, just kills the motor. Green is start, so green for go, red for stop. And then override is what this says, and this is a reverse limiter override button. So when you put this thing in reverse, once you get up to a certain speed in reverse, it has a limiter that kicks in. If you want to override that reverse limiter, you can push and hold this button and you'll override that reverse limiter. So that's what that's about. Alright, air filter is located right here. The fuel tank's in the back on these. With that V-twin engine, you've got the intake right between those two cylinders. These are liquid cooled, so you've got a radiator in the front. You've got your dual headlights with low and high beam. You can mount a winch on the front of these. One of my bikes has a winch on it. There you have it. This is just a good bike. I like mine a lot, and I know a lot of guys that have them and really enjoy them. But they're serious machines. Alright, so there you have it. 2012 Brute Force 650 solid rear axle in the Super Black. We are Mainland Cycle Center. We're located about 30 minutes south of downtown Houston, just off of I-45 in LaMarque, Texas. Our website is mainlandcyclecenter.com. Our phone number is 409-948-4969. We would just love it if you'd give us a call, shoot us an email, come by and see us. Just let us know how we can help. Thanks for watching.